coming at you 7:27, 27 after 7 o'clock, 33 minutes before 8, 93 minutes before 9, 87 minutes after 6, coming at you. Yeah, I heard Adam Carolla do that one time. I thought that was funny. This is funny. That's what this is. What's that from A Few Good Men? Can you imagine if Jack Nicholson was doing a show about money? But you can't handle the Dow Jones. You can't handle my bonds. That's right, dude. Welcome to Monetary Therapy, where we turn financial stress into financial success and have a few laughs along the way. I'm Mike on the mic. Let's get financially healthy. Right into it. I want to talk today about investments. It's very important. As we say on the show, if you learn about money, you don't have to worry about money, right? I look at it like Forrest Gump. He's like, we don't have to worry about money no more. One less thing. That's right. Gives you time to be creative, to get fit. I go to the gym every day, the Gym. Look at this. I'm getting huge, right? And I can get organized. I can spend time with my family. It makes sense if I don't have to trade my time for money. That's what this is all about. Trade less, live more, right? I don't know. Seems pretty simple to me. It's a math problem. We live in a capitalist society. It's a competitive society, and you have to figure out how to win. A lot of that is financial literacy, delayed gratification, trying to figure out life is a game, money is a game, and how to win. You've got to be disciplined, and you have to think about your actions, okay? Then you can have a bright financial future. If you make money quick, you are likely to lose it quick. Athletes, actors, lottery winners, 99% of all lottery winners, I think, are broke, in jail, or dead. It's like giving a baby a firearm. They don't know what to do with the money. It's not even intellect. It's experience. It's self-control. People just waste it. I've done it. I did the same thing. I've made every single mistake. I made a mistake last week. Yikes. But you learn from it, and then you move forward, and you move forward and up to success. That's what you do. Okay, let's get into it. You're like, enough already. All right, let's see. Let's see what I wrote some notes, because the best investment for a 22-year-old isn't necessarily the best investment for a 62-year-old. That's why you got to talk about what you should invest in. I am not a financial planner. I've been investing on and off my whole life in property and stocks, in retirement accounts. I've learned something from it, so I can give you my opinions, okay? That's what I like to do. And I even wrote a disclaimer. I'm not a financial advisor, a CPA, or attorney. The show is for educational and entertainment purposes only. Everyone's financial situation is different. Your age, income, debts, taxes, risk tolerance, and goals all matter. Before making investment decisions, do your own research and consider speaking with a qualified financial professional. Let me give you some advice on that. First of all, there's basically two. There's brokers and fiduciaries in terms of financial professionals. In my opinion, you do not want to go anywhere near a broker. Brokers sell you things. So a broker may be selling variable annuities. The majority of investment products are terrible. The majority of investments are terrible. Okay? The more complex it is, probably the worse it is. All right? That's a good note. So a broker has a variable annuity, and maybe they make $10,000 when you sign it, or they make that after a year. They're motivated to get you to sign that, to buy that. Is it good for you? Is it the best for you and your family? I don't know. But they have a motivation to sell you something, put you in this fund, put you in this investment instrument. I would avoid brokers at all costs. I would use a fiduciary. So a fee-only financial planner, someone who is giving you advice that you're paying for, and they make money when you do. If they get 1% of your portfolio when it goes up, they're motivated to make your portfolio go up, okay? If you're a broker, you're working with a broker, they're selling you something. Well, it went down. We had a bad year. Oh, the economy's in the toilet. They all have all these reasons and excuses that you're not making money, but they're selling you something. You know, they're selling you that old, what was it? You want to buy a bridge in Florida or a piece of land in Florida or something like that. They have something to sell. I'd rather work with someone who does not have an agenda. So I'd recommend a fiduciary. Okay. You need to invest for retirement. You are going to get old. You are probably going to get tired of working. You need to focus and invest. The most powerful investment tool or concept is compounding interest. What is that? You make money on top of the money that you just made. If you invest $1,000 and you make 10% a year, in a year you'll have $1,100. And you say, all right, I make 10% a year. So the next year I'll have another $100, right? Wrong. You'll have more. Now investments go up and down, but I'm just using round numbers to help with the concept. So you invest $100 at the end of a year, you made 10%, you have 110. You make 10% the next year. It's 10% of 110. Okay? So you would make $11. All right? The next year 121. It's 10% of 121. You'd make another $12 on top of that. I should have round numbers here. But the idea is the compounding of interest. You're making interest on your interest. When you invest, it might take you 15 years to get to $1 million, but it might take you only 10 more years to get to 2 million. It might take you only 7 more years on top of that to get to 3 million. Okay. So that is 32 years to get to $3 million, but with compounding, because you're making interest on the interest. It's not timing the market. It's time in the market, the length of investing. So one way to do that is to get an investment account like a Roth IRA. Roth IRA is after-tax money for retirement. So you pay tax on it now, so it grows tax-free. That's one of the best. Okay, there are 401ks. There are Roth I401ks. There's tons of investment vehicles. Always check with a fiduciary and vet them. Somebody you know, somebody you've worked with before, somebody who's a friend of a friend, but check their records, check their experience, and a fiduciary is working for you. They're not trying to sell things, which is the best part. So if you at age 18 max out a Roth IRA, they allow, I don't know, is it 7,000 now? I should probably get my facts straight here. So let's see what they allow right now. Even I turned off my phone. You know, what does a Roth IRA allow right now if you're under 50 or over 50 for yearly contributions? This is unprofessional, but, you know, I'm just learning the trades here. Okay. Under age 50, up to $7,500 a year. Over age 50, up to $8,600 a year. They give you $1,100 catch up. What that is, they let older people put more money in so they can catch up if they didn't have enough. Most people do not have enough in retirement, and believe me, that is not where you want to be. If you want to work at Lowe's or bag groceries when you're 80, that's great, but you don't want to have to do that. Okay? There's nothing wrong with working at Lowe's or working at the grocery store. I always say, any job is a good job. If you're honest, if you show up on time, if you have passion, if you do good work, if you have integrity, any job is worthwhile. But if you want to get ahead and have options, you know, the sky's the limit of what you can do. So if you invest the $7,500 a year in your Roth IRA, you can break it down monthly. So what would that be? $7,500 divided by 12. There's no way I can do this math. So we'll use the computer for what it's for. Winning. That's right. Let's see if it actually gave me a freaking answer. All right, $625 a month. Okay, people say, I'll invest when I have extra money. Nobody has extra money except Elon Musk and Jeff Bezos. You're never going to have extra money. What you want to do is develop a savings muscle. If you go to the gym, you will develop muscles, okay? All right. You want to develop a savings muscle, be in the practice of savings. One of the greatest things, and I wouldn't promote something I don't use. I use the Acorns app. And I have a link on my site. If you want to click on it and sign up, you'll help out the show. So what does that do? You can tell it to put a certain amount of money away every week, every 2 weeks, every month, whatever it is, and you can have it do round up if you like. So every time you buy something, a coffee for $5.50, it might round it to $6. But what you're doing is you're developing that savings muscle. You're working out your savings. So you're putting away money every week. All right. And then you kind of forget about it. And then when you check it, there might be several $1,000s in there. That's what you want to do. That's very helpful. Savings muscle. And automatic withdrawals. You want it to come out so you don't miss it. You don't have to be like, well, this month I'm tight, so I'm not going to invest. No, the dollar cost averaging, the investment over time. Dollar cost averaging is investing over time, meaning if a stock is, if a S&P 500 index fund is $500, okay, so you invest the $625 a month. Then next month it's $800. Well, now you're getting less shares, but you're still investing. Next month it's $300. Now you're getting, triple the shares. Dollar cost averaging over time where you get the best value for your money. You want to have that $625 come out every month, and then you won't miss it. And with a Roth, I think also until the following tax year, you have until April. So you really have 16 months to put the money in. Okay, but if you do that $7,500 a year and you're at age 18, let's find out what that is. If you start a Roth IRA at age 18 and you max it out every month and you invest in the S&P 500 low-cost index fund, what would you likely have at age 65? So that is what? 47 years? Index fund. If you had an 8% return, you'd have 3.9 million, a 10% return, 8 million, a 12% return, 16 million. The SP 500, your return's about 10% a year. So the average person would have around $8 million. Man, that's not that bad for $625 a month, right? That is the incredible value of compounding interest. What Benjamin Franklin said is the eighth wonder of the world. Investing over time, you can have a job bagging groceries again, working at the hardware store, sweeping the streets, be a garbage man, or you're an attorney, or you're a CPA or something. There's a limit. There is a ceiling on the Roth. You can't, if you're wealthy, you can't contribute to a Roth. It's really to help out, middle class and folks who don't make too much. But it's a wonderful vehicle to get there. But you just saw the value of investing over time. I mean, you can't argue with the pure numbers. I'm trying to use the tips my School of Podcasting mentor told me. He's like, use your hands, use your body language. And I just did a town hall with a bunch of folks. A couple of different people gave me some good tips. Mark Miller there. Folks who are more experienced than me. Listen to your mentors. Folks who know what they're doing more than I do will help me improve. All right? I'm not going to take it personally. I'm just going to get it done and figure out how to win. Let me adjust these lights. I think it's reflecting off my face. There we go. All right, good times. Like I said, I should have my wife on the show. She's much, much better looking than me. That would get me some ratings. So, if you're not 18, if you're later, you got to start investing. You want to know about what you're going to have in retirement. You want to know about when you're going to retire, and you want to know what type of lifestyle you want. You can do this, but you have to get involved. It's not a lot of work. It's not a lot of planning, but you cannot just leave it there and see if you can figure it out later. Social Security, I would not bank on it. You don't know what you're going to get. You don't know what age. They might cut it 50%. If we have machines in the future working, they're not paying into Social Security, so the benefits are likely to go down. I would not bank on something that is out of your control. Okay, so investing. What stocks should you buy? A couple things. It depends. How old are you? Are you married? Do you have kids? What's your income? You definitely want an emergency fund. How much debt do you have? Retirement goals. Investments depend on a lot of things. One of the things I would say to people is who want to do their own investing, you have to be very careful. There is an emotional component to investing. You have to know what your temperament is, okay? I do not have a good emotional investing temperament. If stocks go down and I own them, I feel bad. That's why you have a fiduciary, a representative who's investing your money for you. And that way, if the market goes down, it's not their money. They know what to do with it. They know when the market goes down, things are on sale. When it's up, you rebalance. So if you have different funds, what they do is if you have 5 different sectors and 20% of your investments are in the five, one goes way up like chip stocks, okay? They sell some, they take some profit and they put some in something that's struggling a little to balance. And then this one will go up and then they do the same. They do this for you. And when the market crashes through the floor, like it has a couple of times, I think 75, 87, 2001.com, 2008 financial crisis, 2020 COVID, 2022, I think was NASDAQ. You don't overreact. Maybe you call them, but they're controlling your money and they know that you should invest more when the market's down and then you can sell some when the market's up. The psychology of the human brain is different. We panic. So if you panic, if you don't have the right emotional components for investing, have a fiduciary do it, okay? Other thing, what do you invest in? Well, the fiduciary will figure it out. The S&P 500 low-cost index fund is diversified. They do business all over the world. You want some more diversification? Then you can do some, in foreign funds, and the fiduciary can help you out with those sort of things. I think I still get light on my face. Yeah, I want to look good for the show. I'm going to get a David Beckham mask, and then I'll actually look good. I don't look that bad for 50. I got to lose like 40 pounds. I got to keep a tan. I'm lucky I kept my hair. You got to keep it up. You want to look good for your family, for your wife, and you want to be fit and functional and look formidable. So that's what we're doing. I'll try to limit the tangents, but my brain is just an absolute soup all the time, so it's difficult. So, okay, get rich quick. Crypto, I wouldn't recommend crypto. The Bitcoin, the main one is down from like 125 to 60. It might go back up. It might go to 1 million. It might go to 0, but it's based on nothing. It's backed by nothing. And it's a lot of get rich quick schemes. And if people got rich quick, they would lose it. You want to know about something. You want to learn about something before you put your hard-earned money into it. Okay. And you want to have an idea of what you're trying to achieve. Crypto is so dangerous. It's so volatile. People believe in it. It's the future. It's a stable this. It's a hedge. I don't know. I don't feel it's a great thing. The track record is the great thing. The stock market is the track record. And to me, it's the best way to wealth. So I wouldn't recommend any of those other things, but you can look into them on your own. All right. Let's see what else we got. All right. In terms of trading, I wouldn't recommend trading stocks for the individual. There's that mental component. It's mostly gambling. It's very, very dangerous. I personally do momentum day trading, but I screwed that up a bunch of times and I learned from it. I made a very detailed chart with a checklist of what I do, all right, when I trade. Okay, so stocks go up and down. You have no control, and they don't care if you own them. So I use this as an income stream. And what happened to me is each time I'll do something, I learn. I use small amounts of money. What I'd recommend to people if you want to do this, day trading, do paper trading for a while and do a lot of research. If you think you can jump in and do it, you are going to lose a lot of money. You're going to learn a very harsh lesson. Okay? Paper trading, do fake trades and learn how to make money. The way I make money with that is I have conditional trades, meaning when you buy a stock at, let's say 10 shares at $100, so that's 1,000. All right, you've invested. I put in a stop loss, a trailing stop loss of 1 or 2% based on ChatGPT. I use ChatGPT as an advisor. It tells me what to do. Meaning, if that stock immediately dropped, from $100, 2% down to $98, my fund, would sell at about $980. If it's falling really fast, you might get $975, but not too much lower. So I'd lose $20, $25 max. If I didn't put the trailing stop loss in, it could go down to $80 a share and you'd lose 200. It could go even further. It can go to 0. So always I'd recommend the stop loss, the trailing stop loss. What is that? It follows the stock up and down. So let's say the stock immediately goes from 100 to 120. Now I have $1,200 worth of stock. Okay, but I have a 2% trailing stop loss. So 2% of 1,200. So 10% would be 120. So 2 would be 1.2, 2.4. Okay, so what that would do is if the stock dropped at $1,200, it drops 2%. I might need my calculator on this one. All right, yeah, because having a little trouble. 0.02. Okay, that's $24. So it would sell at 11.76. So I would get about $106 gain. Okay, so the stop loss, the 2% trailing stop loss, follows the stock as it rises. So as it goes from the value of 100 to 120, it follows it. So it raises your protection. So then if it suddenly drops, you go to 1176, 1170, 1165 or something like that. So you're locked into profit, okay? But what happened to me one time, because you would buy the stock at 10 shares for 100, that's $1,000. Then a separate action, you'd click in again and you'd put in the 1% or 2% stop loss. I hesitated a couple of times because the stock dropped so dramatically. It dropped from like $100 to like 80. I panicked and I didn't do it because I didn't want it to sell at $76 a share. I wanted it to go back up. And then it went down to like $50 a share, and then you're in real trouble. So I learned the hard way, because I panicked on the second move, to remove that and do a conditional. Is my hair messed up? Do a conditional trade. What that is you buy the shares, 10 shares at $100, and with one click, you put in the 2% stop loss. So if the second after I purchase the shares, it drops, the value drops to $50 a share, drops 50%, I'm going to get stopped out probably at the 2% loss, right? So that would be $2, around 98, 97, protecting it from dropping down to that lower level. All right. So I don't have that hesitation on the second click. So what I learned the hard way was that. So you want to learn as you go if you're going to do it at all. You want to have a strategy. You don't want to invest too much. You want to research. I researched this for a long, long time and used ChatGPT to do it, to pick a volatile stock and then not put too much into it, not put margin, and to have the automatic conditional stop loss with the trade. So if it drops, I only lose a little. And then I buy something on an uptrend. So it's 100, I buy it, and it's on its way up. So hopefully it goes 101, 102, 110. If it drops right away, I either break even or lose a little or make a little, and that protects myself. But really got to be careful with day trading. It's very, very dangerous. All right. What are we at? The market today. Dow Jones at 2,200. No, that's wrong. 52,208. I need to learn to read. That's one of the highest ever. S&P 500, 7438, just about the highest ever. NASDAQ, about 24,122. All three major indexes remain positive for the year, with the Dow and S&P each roughly up 8 to 9%. Here's the problem, though. Inflation slowly eats away purchasing power. Also, more importantly, the value of the dollar has gone down. You know, I have a statistic here I sent to my buddy. Let me look it up. If you learn about money, you don't have to worry about money. Knowledge is power. Listen to Warren Buffett. Improve yourself. Improve your knowledge. All right, where's the note? Here it is. The purchasing power of $100 since the U.S. abolished the gold standard in 1971 has gone down. In 1971, $100 was $100. In 1981, that same value only bought you 44.55%, $44.55 worth of goods. 1991 down to $29.74, 2001 down to $22.87, 2011 down to $18, 2021 down to $14.95, 2026 down to $12.13. The U.S. dollar has lost 88% of its purchasing power. The only way to stay ahead is to live below your means, buy assets, and reduce consumer debt. And that's exactly what we do. It's a decision to succeed with money, folks. It's a decision. You can be at the bar. You can be on the phone with your friends, the economy and the president and the rates and the war and the job market and the uh the what do they call that thing? What is the art of AI? Man, brain fart. But you have to take responsibility for your life, responsibility. And if you want to win, you can do it. But you've got to start learning. All right. Cash is king. You can keep money in a safe. You can have an emergency fund. You want to have a little bit of that. But inflation does eat away at that. CDs are safer. You buy a CD, $1,000. It's 5% for a year. In a year, you'll have 1,050. But it's limited growth. Bonds, less risky, less return. The best thing are index funds. Spreads out in the market, makes an average of 10% a year with like the S&P 500. As we talked about, individual stocks are very, very dangerous. You want to be careful. You're not smarter than the people on Wall Street. A lot of them don't even know what they're doing. Real estate is good. We have a lot of real estate. We have investment cars, and we have investment property. We have 7 cars, 7 properties. I've got the Jean-Claude Van Damme C8 Corvette. The real one's outside in the driveway, and I rent it out. I use it. You can rent it for music videos. You can rent it for a podcast. You can rent it for photo shoots. I buy cash flowing assets, rental properties, rent by the room, single family. You get cash flow appreciation, tax advantages, and leverage. Tenants can be annoying and repairs and vacancies and management, but that's part of life. You have to decide the level of suffering or what you're trying to achieve and what it's going to take to get there. All right. So that's what they say. The highest return isn't Wall Street. Sometimes it's Main Street. Investing in yourself can produce incredible returns. I believe you. What I would do, I'd build a strong foundation first. You want to have an emergency fund. You want to have plenty of money. You don't want every crisis to bankrupt you. You don't want to use credit cards too much. You want to learn about credit. Again, learning about money, you don't have to worry about money. Building your credit. Learn about it. Research it. What builds credit? It's not having a massive balance on a credit card. It's using the game of building credit. Credit is your trustworthiness, and then banks will lend you money. Okay? You can get airline miles and points, but if you can't pay off your credit card every month, that's not a good thing. That's not where you want to be. Your credit card is normally going to be a lot more than what you think it is, okay, each month. So you want to really watch what you spend. Debit cards are very dangerous. You got to be careful with those. But do not build up credit card debt, consumer debt, unsecured debt. Not a good idea. If you have some, work 100 hours a week to pay that off. Donate blood, donate plasma, sell some items, shop your bills, do whatever you can, get out of debt. You can do it if you have a goal. If your goal is to fix your credit, do that. If your goal is to get out of debt, do that. Just do it. Just attack it. If you're watching Friends and Big Bang Theory after work for 7 hours and watching movies, you're not going to get anywhere. Now, if you're happy with that life, fine. I always talk about that. There's nothing wrong with enjoying your life. But if you're sitting around waiting to work the next day and you're in debt, you're not going to get anywhere. If you're financing tattoos, you're not going to get anywhere. We're doing a little lighting fix on the air. We're trying to get this just right. I think there's a reflection off the fridge over there. Anyway, it looks pretty cool. It's like a nightclub in here. You folks know what you're doing. You shouldn't buy the thing. You shouldn't get the tattoo. You shouldn't upgrade to business class. You shouldn't buy bottle service in a nightclub. You shouldn't have an $800 car payment. You just want something. But what you spend your money on is what's important to you. And if your future's important to you, that's what I would recommend. All right. So, emergency fund, pay off high interest debt, get the employer 401k match. Those are all good things. Invest consistently, diversify, think long term. You want to know what you're going to have at retirement, at what age, at what time. You are going to get old. Your life is going to pass by like that. So you want to enjoy it, but you also want to plan for the future, for abundance. And then you can help the old people. You can help the young people. Everything in your life is not a crisis. And then you can win. I'd love to hear from you guys. You want to email me, info@monetarytherapy.com. You can check out the show, www.monetarytherapy.com. I just want everybody to win, but I'm winning. I'm winning right now. I'm winning all day, every day. I'm winning with money. Money doesn't buy you happiness, but it gives you options. It gives you abundance so you can solve life's problems and you can help people. Everything in life is about making the world a better place, helping your friends and family, helping them succeed, not enabling them to fail. It's about winning, but bringing all boats up. Everybody wins. You do not want to step on other people to win. Always be honest, always show up on time, have integrity, be kind. Don't be naive. What is that? That nice guys finish last? I heard be a good guy, not a nice guy. So I'm a good guy, not a nice guy. But I want everybody to win. Well, good times. Remember, spend with purpose, invest with patience, and don't let today's impulse steal tomorrow's freedom. I'm Mike on the mic. Trade less, live more, and keep laughing all the way to the bank. The therapy session is over. The Monetary Therapy Show. We're just winning just all day. It's just going to be a lot of this. It's like, oh, what? Where am I? Where's Mike? He's at the bank. How's his accounts doing? They're going up. How are his investments doing? They're rising. We're going to win and have abundance. How about these banana hands? That's why I'm a good tennis player. I'm 5'8", but I have enormous hands. Look at this. I can hold like so many beers at once. That's the important stuff in life, right? I want you folks to succeed. You have to take responsibility for your life. Nobody's coming to help you out. And you can do it. No matter the rates, no matter who's president, no matter if there's a war, no matter how the economy's doing, the stock market's doing, you can win, but you have to take responsibility. You got to get started now. Have some fun with it, okay? We're here stacking wins. We'll see you next time. Monetary Therapy Show. Mike on the mic, Mike Stiskin. Thank you for tuning in.